Yep, it can feel lonely. I think especially when our parents claim not to remember how difficult it was for them. And then they paint it in a very positive light, and then they make you feel like you're failing. Yeah, happens a lot. Happens a lot. Or you're with a partner who just simply can't cope with having a new child, and you're just kind of sitting there alone with the baby. Even if your child is already a little bit older, I think that everybody has individual feelings for different people, and especially for mothers who gave birth to their children. It's something that no one will ever really completely understand unless you've done the same thing. And yeah, like let's say you have an issue with parenting, and let's say you're very aggressive and you just don't know how to deal with your own emotions because you never learned how to do it, or you never saw a reason to do it because you were so successful holding it all in before you had a child. Because let's be honest, children can really test our limits, right? I mean, I think I've discovered so much more about myself than I thought I knew about myself before I had kids. The problem is though, if you have like dark thoughts or something else and you really don't know how to deal with the pressure, going to a professional, like let's say a therapist, is something that a lot of people love to suggest. Like, oh, why don't you go to a therapist? They can help you. And you know what? No, that doesn't work. Because, whenever, nobody likes to open up to therapists. Like, not fully. Because you're going to say something. And sometimes it feels like it's a lawyer that I'm talking to. But not my lawyer. Like an attorney. Because I feel like everything that I say can be held against me at the end of the day. Like, let's say, I'm having real issues with aggression, which is not the case right now. But let's say you are a person who has an issue with aggression. Okay? And you're doing things that you're not supposed to be doing, but that's why you're seeking help, right? That's like you're getting to that breaking point where you seek help. And I think, honestly, that's another thing. I think this is what most of us do, okay? We were raised, some of us, to just hold it all in and not say much and just go through the storm and be fine afterwards, right? And then once you go through that storm, you're fine. But then when you're in that state already where you feel aggressive towards someone or something because you don't know how to help yourself, you're trying to push yourself to the point that you get aggressive. And that's when you seek help. Usually, most of us. Isn't it too late, don't you think? And that's when we're already at that point, at that breaking point where we say, I need help. That's the only time we ask for help. It's when we cannot help ourselves anymore, and when we notice that we're maybe even hurting other people in the process of it. That's why we're seeking out help. And then the first thing the therapist will tell you is like, oh yeah, and just so you know, I have to report any physical or whatever abuse is going on at home. And I have to report everything. So literally, okay, dude, like what am I doing in your session then? And, this is exactly why a lot of people feel so lonely, because they know they have to hold it all in. Because how dare they say something? They don't have the resources, okay? When you go into the hospital, you give birth, don't you think a second the nurse is there or the doctors give a about you once you leave. Once you leave, they cannot wait to get you out fast out of the hospital room. Okay, they drop you like a hot potato the moment you step out of that hospital room. They act all caring and, do whatever they're getting paid to do. And yeah, then you're on your own. After that, they show you everything so they can check something off their box. And then, so you're at home, you don't really know what to do with the baby. And then you are required to go back to be tested for postpartum depression. And then guess what? You check all the boxes that you don't have postpartum depression because you don't want to appear like you don't know what you're doing. Because you're pushing through it. And then you go home and you're not any healthier. So I don't really understand what the whole postpartum depression testing is for. A lot of people don't open up that easily. It's difficult for a lot of people. So really what we need is like a lot of parents, I think, in order for them not to feel lonely, is to have someone coming home with you after you've given birth.